Have you ever been told you can do anything you set your mind to? Or you can be whatever you want to be as long as you work harder than anyone else? Or you can have anything you want as long as you want it bad enough? Lies. It's not true. They're nice ideas, but they're just not true. It wouldn't have mattered how hard Mother Teresa had worked at it or wanted it. She was never going to play basketball in the NBA. She lacked a number of abilities, natural abilities, necessary to make that happen. And what a waste it would have been if instead of pursuing her God-given mission, Mother Teresa had become a basketball player. Once again, we discover a huge gulf between the ways of the world and the vision God has for your life. The world says life is about doing what you want, and doing what you want will make you happy. God says He has the ultimate plan for your life, and following that plan is what will lead you to an unimaginable happiness. The thing is, God knows you better than anyone else. He knows you better than you know yourself. He designed you, and He designed you with a specific mission in mind. You were designed on purpose and for a purpose. Albert Einstein wrote, "Everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life believing that it is stupid." If you're going to discover your mission, we first need to discover your genius. What are you uniquely designed to contribute? If you bought a car and you wanted to discover how to bring the best out of it, how to get it to achieve optimum performance, who would you talk to about that? You could go online, right? And you could read internet articles, or you could go down to the dealership and speak to the mechanic who specializes in that particular car. But the best person to speak to would be the person who designed that car and built that car. In the same way, if you want to discover your mission, your genius, and how to bring the best out of yourself, the person you got to talk to is the person who designed you, the person who built you, God. God speaks to us in lots of ways, but there are three ordinary voices that God uses every day to speak to every single one of us. The first ordinary voice of God, legitimate needs. What's that? What's a legitimate need? Well, if you don't eat, you'll die. You've got a legitimate need for food. Who created you with that legitimate need for food? God. If you don't breathe, you'll die even quicker. God has created you with legitimate needs. You have these legitimate needs in all four aspects of the human person: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. Physically, you have legitimate needs for food, sleep, exercise, clothing, shelter, and lots of other things. Emotionally, you have legitimate need for opportunities to love and be loved. Intellectually, you have legitimate needs for opportunities to learn new things, to expand your mind, to stimulate your mind. And spiritually, you've got legitimate needs for silence, solitude, scriptures, sacraments. The world says that the meaning of life is to get what you want. The world says you'll be most fully alive when you get what you want. But it's not true. In your lifetime, you're going to encounter hundreds of people who are obsessed with getting what they want. But getting what they want won't make them happy. The reason is profoundly simple. You never can get enough of what you don't really need. Think about it. You never can get enough of what you don't really need. God has given you these legitimate needs. They're clues. God's given you legitimate needs as clues about how to live life to the fullest. The second ordinary voice of God is talents and abilities. You have a unique blend of talents and abilities that are perfectly suited to carry out whatever mission God has assigned just to you here on earth. There are two types. The first is universal, and the second is unique. Universal talents are those that we all have. For example, we all have the ability to make a difference in other people's lives. Unique talents are those that everyone doesn't have. For example, the ability to paint a picture like Monet or Van Gogh or Picasso, or write a symphony like Mozart, or be the best basketball player in the world. The world is obsessed with unique talent. But when you consider the ability to make a difference in other people's lives alongside the ability to throw a great fastball, the baseball thing becomes trivial. The reason it seems trivial is because it is. You see, the world takes the trivial and makes it important. And the world takes the important and makes it trivial. God has given you a unique blend of talents and abilities, and your talents and abilities are vocational. What does that mean? Well, they hold clues. They hold clues about your mission in life. They hold clues about your genius, about your vocation, and the best way for you to live. The third ordinary voice of God is deepest desire. Deep in your heart, you have desires for good things, and God has placed those desires in your heart to guide you toward the life that He's imagined for you. At lunchtime, I often have a desire for 6 double chocolate donuts. It's not a particularly deep desire. In fact, it's a pretty shallow desire. God wants us to move beyond our shallow desires, which are often selfish and pointless, and uncover the deepest desires of our hearts. When I'm the best version of myself, I'd say no to the donuts, and I have a salad for lunch instead. To the world, this is like a simple choice between donuts and a salad. But as we grow spiritually, God shows us that there are many layers and many dimensions every decision. On one level, it's just a choice between donuts and salad. But on another level, it's a choice between donuts and being healthy. That's a different perspective. On another level, it's a choice between donuts and being alive and healthy enough to walk my daughter down the aisle when she gets married, to be alive to see her life unfold and meet the person she'll decide to spend her life with, and meet my grandchildren. When you embrace God and when you embrace His way of life, God is going to reveal many dimensions of everyday life that you never saw before, that you never thought about before. God is speaking to you. God's speaking to you through your deepest desires. Seek out your deepest desires for good things and have the courage to pursue them. The most common preface to any sentence in the Bible is God said. God said to Adam, God said to Noah, God said to Moses, God said to Abraham. God spoke to everybody. It isn't that God has stopped speaking, but that humanity has stopped listening. God speaks to us in so many ways. God is speaking to you. He speaks to us through prayer, through the scriptures, through the sacraments, through the life, teachings, and history of the church. He speaks to you through other people. He speaks to you through events and circumstances. God's talking to you. You've been designed by God for a specific mission. This is what John Henry Newman wrote. God has created me to do Him some definite service. He has committed some work to me which He has not committed to another. I have my mission. God has assigned a mission to you. If you don't fulfill your mission, it'll go left undone. The world is a mess. Lots of ways. The world's a mess. You know why it's a mess? Because too many people have abandoned their God-given mission. Find your mission. It'll change your life. Mean it. Find your mission. It'll change your life in the most wonderful ways.